Ace Podcast.
You are listening to Super Co-op Squad, episode 37.
It's 37. There's nothing significant about that.
You're not a cool number, 37.
It's a prime number, though.
That it is. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Super Co-op Squad video game podcast. I am one of your hosts, Johnny Mack, and I'm joined with my fellow host today, and always, Garrett Laney.
Hello.
And Joshua Gerard.
It is I.
Yep, it is you. You are Joshua.
Thanks,
So we are the Super Co-op Squad, guys. We love video games, we love movies, we love everything pop culture, and every week we sit down to discuss the latest and greatest news announcements and give our opinions on anything gaming related, have some fun chopping it up, have some fun making some laughs, teasing each other, and generally just having a good time talking games. This is going to be your spoiler warning before we get into our content today. So if you don't want to know anything about what we're talking about, you don't know anything about anything, then go ahead and pause, go ahead and go to our show notes. You can find those show notes on scspodcast.com, or just click the link titled show notes in the details and description of this episode. That'll take you right to it, and you will be able to know what we're talking about beforehand and skip past anything that you don't want to know about. But other than that, guys, we are good to go. So this week we have a lot of fun stuff to talk about, not necessarily gaming news, all of it, although there, of course, there is some of that. We're talking about some things that are just important to gaming, some things that are kind of fun. So, later on in the podcast, we'll be discussing the Marvel Cinematic Universe as they move into the middle of their Phase 3 of Spider-Man Homecoming this weekend, what that means for the MCU and where it's going to go from there. We'll be talking about the gaming difficulty, the challenge of how games have become, and what they've changed. Is that good or bad for gaming? What we think about the difficulty scale that has changed since the early 90s. To begin the podcast, though, we'll be discussing expansions, DLC, and updates. So where is the line drawn as far as the content for gaming and developing games and developing content for games before the next sequel? And this is going to be a discussion more so about not necessarily what's good or bad for expansions or how DLC should be rolled out. We've covered that before. I think we all know where we stand on that. This is going to be something more about how gaming has evolved to include a lot of DLC and content and propel a game past its 1 or 2 year life cycle into, a 4 or 5 or sometimes a 7 year life cycle. Back in the day on cartridge or on disc, that was all you got. You got your game, you moved on from there. PC games in the early 90s began having expansions you could get on disc and gave you more playability. You fast forward 20 years to now, and there's patches that are auto updating to our consoles and our PCs instantaneously, and pretty much every AAA game has a season pass of some sort. And the lifespan of the games have been just far extended beyond what the creators used to be able to do, and they continue now working on their title well after release. So where do you guys sit as far as this issue? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Because now gaming changes, daily, weekly, monthly with the game that's been released.
To me, DLC is always a good thing. I guess depending, price and everything, that's different. But adding more to a game, I think, is always a good idea.
Okay. Now, not that I necessarily believe this, but many people feel that gaming is an art. And so in the past, they released a game and that art form was what it was. And now that artist has the opportunity to go back and they can change a brushstroke here, or they can adapt it from what it was. So some people feel that, you're changing your art form because you're trying to keep up with the times or fix a mistake that you made. And in the past, you could not do that. A glitch was a glitch, and that was part of the art form. Any thoughts on that?
Well, hold on. I got thrown off, but this is a discussion for another time. I just want a yes or no right now. You don't think video games are considered art?
I do. Oh, wow. So you're trying to put me on the spot. I do think it's a form of expression and creativity. I don't know if it's the same art that I would, attribute to like the Mona Lisa or a piece by Mozart, but it is a form of expression and art in a looser term.
Okay.
Yeah.
Back to your question though.
I was about to get it, wasn't I?
About to get real scary over here.
Yeah. Well, for DLC, it really does depend. It can range from extra characters to another story to even bug fixes, really. As far as taking on the form of changing art and everything, it's not, as you had said, previously, a couple seconds ago. It's not like a Mona Lisa. It's not Mozart, Once those things are out, they're out. Mozart doesn't come back and says, oh, you know what, let me change that to a whole note, let me change that from a G to a D minor or something, So when it's out, it's out. But for gaming, because this is a type of media that we spend a lot of time on. This is something that can grow up and we experience. I think it can be a good thing when something comes out, you get some criticism over it, whether good or bad. You do have the opportunity to change that.
I halfway agree with you. I think that because it's a looser art form, it's not necessarily the same to change it. But I do like if you look back at like the early 90s or PlayStation 1 times, and a game was released, and there's that glitch that happened, unlock something in the game or to kind of break it up a little bit. That used to be a cool thing, and now those things get patched, and I think that's a sadly lost thing. But I think to some degree it does depend on what type of things are part of that content expansion or that update for as far as if it's good or bad. So for instance, if it's DLC as far as new maps, new weapons, things that are going to be included anyway, I think those are things that are cool because that was expected for you, usually expected to add. But when it's fixing glitches where you have artwork or art like Mass Effect Andromeda did where they fixed the art because they screwed it up. I don't like that as far as you changing that, because you should have put your heart and soul into those type of things ahead of time. So I don't know. JG, where do you stand?
Yeah, I get to speak. My turn. I loosely agree with you there, Johnny. I'm okay with certain things. As far as a form of art, it is an expression. It is something that, as the artist, you can update or change. But we do lose the original content and kind of the value that it portrays. And also, if you're looking at something that you're trying to, if you're looking at something that is 20 years down the line, has been updated 50 times, you're not even going to know what the original piece was at this point in time. You don't know what, you can see the progression, but you don't get to play the game that was originally released. You're playing this, I guess you could say, new game with all these updates. But extra content is good, whether it be characters, future DLC, story-driven stuff. A lot of it can be good, and especially if you're getting free DLC updates, you're just more bang for your buck. But at the same time, if you're looking at DLC as a whole, sometimes you wish that it would have been worked on and just put in the game at its original release date versus now I have to wait 1, 2, 3 years. And my last point is sometimes creators come up with ideas after the fact. And back then you couldn't just say, we'll just change that. Usually got like a bonus disc or, hey, this is an extra, 1.5 type of thing.
Okay, so you made an interesting point right there at the end. You had said that, creators, they think of new ideas later on, they implement them. And when you do that now on a game that has been released for 2-3 years or even 6 months or whatever time the game's released, wouldn't that maybe be taking away from the sequel? Like, because if you had Super Mario Brothers 3 and you're like, oh man, I had this sick idea. We could have had like this dinosaur to let's auto update and put him in. We'll call him Yoshi and he'll be in Super Mario Brothers 3. We didn't think of it 3 months ago, but now we know to put him in there. Well, I mean, now that's not going to be the kicker, the great thing about Super Mario World. So, where does that fall in line as far as making sure your sequels got things, you're not blowing everything you've got on this game?
Well, I would argue that, one, it is cheaper to add in a dinosaur character rather than make an entire new game. You don't always know if your game's going to be that popular or that successful to be able to fund a second project. As far as now that the surprise or the kicker is now part of the old game, what are you going to do for the new game? Well, now they have to be more innovative. Now they have to think harder. They have to expand even on top of Dinosaur Yoshi. They have to add more to it to make a sequel truly better.
I mean, honestly, I don't know how I feel about that. I see your point that, right, you in this era of gaming, you really don't know what's going to get a sequel or not. I mean, sometimes games that we feel should have a sequel long ago, Beyond Good and Evil, Kingdom Hearts, they get shelved forever. So your ideas might not come to light, even though your game was super popular or what have you. And then you get games like Two Worlds and just random things like that.
Two Worlds got a sequel.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. We've ripped on that game a couple times. We got to pick a new game to bend over. But yeah, and then you get games like that do get
Too Human.
Did that get a sequel?
No.
But we can start ripping on that one.
Yeah,
I was thinking the same thing. 11 years later.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't get a sequel. But yeah, then you have games like that do get sequels randomly. So I see your point there. So okay, next question I've got, next thought on my mind, and as far as this goes, is you start doing that stuff. You start, making sure that you add those things into your game. You're extending the longevity of your game because you may not get another game, or people really want to experience it. And now your game comes out, and typically, let's say an action adventure game might have, the playthrough, and then whatever time people play the multiplayer, if it has one, or whatever it's got. So you play for 6 months or 8 months or 4 months, whatever that life cycle is, right? But then you had DLC, you had expansions, you had the ability for player created maps and games and things like that. So now you push that longevity, that playability time for the average player, the average gamer, from 8 months or 9 months to a year and a half. Grand Theft Auto 5, you're going on 5, 6, 7 years of content. Now, you get into the problem of, well, how many games can you truly play? Like we've talked about in the past, like we play, 12 games a year. Me, it was like 5 games a year, 7 games a year, like really play them. But if they continue to add more content, that's going to diminish how many games you can actually experience to some degree.
I see what you're saying, but gamers are, I don't want to say fickle, but we play what we have the time for and what we want to play at that moment. I have not picked up Zelda in the past week because I'm still playing Injustice. And then, I'm checking out the multiverse, multiverse is a whole other type of DLC, daily content that's constantly changing to get more gear, more ability, more loot boxes. Because of that, I haven't been able to pick up this stellar game. So Joshua's nodding his head at me. He's not too happy with that. But gamers, we fit in what we have the time for, and maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, but honestly, just play what you're happy with.
How do you feel?
I do what I want, Johnny. Don't tell me what I can and can't play because of DLC and stuff. I do what I want. No, you do have a point where if you have an expanded game, you're probably gonna continue to play that game if you're invested into like you're not Derek. You're
Daredevil.
For example, when you eventually finish Breath of the Wild, or when you get into it, you already have the DLC built in to your game now, so that expands the time that you will probably play that game. Versus something like a fighting game, right? You have an extra character or an extra stage. Street Fighter V, for example, you're not going to really put as much more time into that game than you're already going to play. So I think it really depends on what type of content is out there. If it's just skins, like skins are not going to really bring you back to a game, right?
I'd say it depends on the game. I will come back and play Overwatch.
We know you are the exception to the rule, Garrett, with Overwatch.
I'd say that's more dependent on the person. So last question I've got here is not necessarily the cost of DLC, not necessarily like what pack it is, but what do you need from a game as far as its content and what they continue to give the game and add value for a gamer? What do you need that to be or look like for you to continue playing a game past its normal longevity? Like what goes into it that's going to bring you back again and again? Again, we're not talking about the price of it or the package. I know Call of Duty might be $50. Who cares? But is that something that you need or not?
It really depends. For me, the content has to be fun. It has to be where I feel it's worth my time. If it's going to be story driven, it's going to add an extra 6 to 8 hours of campaign, or it's going to add maybe Horizon, for example. I know we're going to talk about later. It adds a new game plus. It adds more replayability to a game that is already well loved. Something like that will keep me going. But if it's kind of mediocre content or extra skins, or hey, now I can play the Batmobile, that's probably not going to turn me on.
You wouldn't play Horizon Zero Dawn with a Batmobile. Aloy.
I didn't tie the two together. I meant no. I don't know about that. And you killed my thought, Garrett. Moving on.
I'm sorry.
Your turn.
For me, surprisingly, somewhat the opposite, Joshua. Characters, skins, that stuff will continue, and that's things I like to see. I like to see a new character being brought into the scene, whether that's a new fighter in Injustice, that's new Doomfist finally coming out in Overwatch. Characters are fun to play as, and they add to the story. Not only do they add to the enjoyment of the game, but there's things that you find out about this character, like, oh, that's why that character knows this character, or that's why that character's doing this. It expands not only the gameplay, but also the story and the atmosphere.
So I think it really is honestly by person, because you guys are very different as far as what you need from a game for the DLC to continue to grab you. For me, to be honest, there's almost nothing you can do. Like there are instances, and I'll reference. We've all got our staples that we reference. I'll reference Mass Effect, Mass Effect 2, and Mass Effect 3. I poured everything into that game. The DLC, I've never gone through 100% in games like that, and I did that. But for the most part, when I experience a game, I'm done with it once I'm finished with that experience. I don't want to go back and get some new chapter that that they added on. I've moved forward, and again, there are instances, but for the most part, you can't get me that way.
It's too late for you, Johnny.
Yes, I'm gone. Especially I look at fighting games. Now we're all into Injustice 2 in some way, shape, or form. We all enjoy the game. I don't appreciate the characters rolling out one at a time. I feel like I want to play them all immediately.
Shut up. By the time you're listening to this, listener, Sub-Zero will be out.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. I'm not unhappy that they're adding more characters. I'm just saying, for me personally, I just want to experience the entire game when it releases at the very pinnacle of my excitement for the game. I don't want to have to wait 3 months and then go, oh, this thing's out now. And that kind of brings my hype for it down.
I see what you're saying, but I would argue that releasing a character a month, because that's what it's been pretty much so far, a character a month adds to the longevity. It adds to that excitement. It's bringing in new formulas and people that you're playing, rather than if they had just, I don't know, if you're talking just wait a year and then, oh, here's all the characters, or if they just release them all at one time.
So the question that I have then as a follow-up is, who is the longevity part helping? Is that helping the gamer, to experience the game this way, where we have to wait for content and then wait? Or is that helping the developer as they string dollars out of us?
I have an answer for you. I think it's both. So if you look at what we've been talking about in the last episode and a half, 2 episodes, you're not able to play all these games at once. If you continually string along content every month over month, number one, it gives the people that haven't had a chance to play with more content than it originally came out. Number two, it allows you to play a game over time and have fun with it. And number three, it builds the community in a longer period of time. So if you have a game, say Johnny Injustice 2 dropped all the DLC on day one, all 9 characters, would that game still be hyped and still have a big community 6 months to a year from its launch window? I personally don't believe so. I think the longer you expand on it, the more people will play it eventually. Maybe not all at once when it comes out, but I think more people will still be into the game.
You have a point there. I see what you're saying, and that does make sense, because from a community standpoint, I understand that when a game is done, I'm like, well, damn, I'm done, and that's it. And then I have to move on because there's nothing else. That can be a problem. I don't know. I still feel that sometimes I'd still prefer the complete package. But you make a very good point in that for the community, many people, and Garrett, same thing with you, would prefer it. Now, you guys have different reasons, Garrett. I think you do like actual content, but the minutia gets you. You like the skins, and you like the extra map, like those small nuances, story, and of course gameplay too. But for you, Joshua, it seems like gameplay and big things like you mentioned, the Horizon, New Game Plus and Ultra Hard mode. Those are drivers for you.
Yeah, speedrun spoiler alert. But one last thing I want to mention too, especially in the FGC and the fighting game community, you take DLC characters and announcements and you spread that out over the year. Now when you have big tournaments and you have big events, like you release, this secret character, or you release a Sub-Zero trailer, and that builds even more hype and excitement, especially during that event, and you get people talking and that hype builds up, and then essentially you're playing the waiting game, and that's what builds, I think, that community overall too.
Cool. Well, those are our thoughts on DLC expansions and updates and how we feel about it. Is it how it is for the community. Let us know, guys, how you feel. Do you think DLC expansions, auto updates are good for gaming? Is it bad? Do you remember a simpler time? And if you do, if you're old enough, do you want that back or not? Was it better now or is it better then? Let us know, guys. You can contact us by email. Our email is contact@scspodcast.net. You can reach out to us in the comments section on our website. That's scspodcast.com, or on Twitter @SuperCollabSquad. All of those links will be available in the show notes for you. So click that link and let us know your thoughts, guys. All right, so our first game segment for today, we've got fan favorites. We picked 10 rapid-fire questions and each chose answers to see where we stand opposed and united in fandom. Play along and find out just what are your fan favorites. So I had the pick this week, gentlemen, on fan favorites, and I had some fun making this one. So this one is, you're stranded on a tropical island. It's a mysterious place. Its depths have yet to be uncovered or discovered. There's absolutely no way off, regardless of powers, abilities, or whatever you or anyone with you has. So you need to pick one person to spend the rest of your days exploring this island with. This is going to be your one companion. So pick the person that you've chosen to make a small new civilization with you.
You sure there's no way off?
There's no way off.
Sea turtles might.
No, you're not going to use the hair from your back, sir.
I'll put it this way. Maybe you can get off the island, but you don't want to because there's something evil out there.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Moana.
So this is fan favorites, Stranded on a Tropical Island edition. Here we go. So first up, Lisa Simpson or Alpha 5?
Aye.
Was that your answer? Or you just
Lisa.
struggling? I'll take Lisa.
Alpha 5. Herbie the Love Bug or Clifford the Big Red Dog?
Ooh.
Clifford. Oscar the Grouch or Elmo?
Elmo.
Oscar the Grouch. The Tasmanian Devil or Bowser Jr.?
Tasmanian Devil.
Bowser Jr.
Bowser Jr. Captain Jack Sparrow or Captain Cold?
I'll take Captain Jack Sparrow.
Captain Jack Sparrow. Alfred, the Batman's butler, or Jarvis, Tony Stark's butler?
Alfred. Courage, the Cowardly Dog, or Scrappy Doo? Oh, damn. I hate both those dogs. Scrappy.
I'm actually going to take Scrappy.
I'm taking Courage, the Cowardly Dog. Happy from the Seven Doors or Gimli from Lord of the Rings?
Gimli.
Which one's Gimli?
He's the only dwarf in Lord of the Rings.
Oh. What was the first answer?
Happy.
Oh, Gimli.
Got it. I'm going Happy. The Cat in the Hat or the Grinch?
The Cat in the Hat. Knows a lot about that.
Cat in the Hat, because that's where it's at.
The Grinch.
Oh, no rhymes.
In the pinch.
It's just a cinch.
There you go. You winch.
And last but not least, I love you, Garrett. P. Diddy or Ben Stiller?
Oh,
he brought this back.
We already have.
We said we were never going to use duplicates.
Ben Stiller.
Ben Stiller.
Bastard.
Yeah.
He did say I love you beforehand, though.
Yep. All right, let's break this down.
I thought it was a term of endearment because I made him laugh.
It was.
So Lisa Simpson or Alpha 5?
All right, I'll be the one. I'll be the one to go there.
Are you really going to do this?
I mean, we're there for the rest of our days.
Wow.
All right? So, give us some time. She gets older. Okay. All right. Stuck on an island. We're all thinking it. I'm just the one that's going to go there.
I wasn't thinking it, and I didn't know where you were going until you went there.
I knew exactly what he was going to say when he prefaced it.
Have little yellow spike-headed babies.
Plus, I also don't want to be stuck with aye every 5 minutes.
Little spike-headed babies.
That's a hair, man.
I chose Alpha 5 because he's a robot. He doesn't need food. I don't have to worry about providing for him and me. He'll be more like a slave doing what I need him to do in my bidding. And I think I might need that on Tropical Island. I don't need someone that I have to worry about protecting.
I don't know if you've watched the same Power Ranger show I have, but Alpha, I don't think he knows anything outside of pushing buttons. And there's no buttons on an island.
I mean, even if it's just like, hey, I'm going to sleep, keep watch. I don't got to worry
What's
about
he
it.
supposed to do?
It's a tropical island.
Wake me up. Yeah, I don't know what's
Before
on.
you go, don't leave me hanging on like a yo-yo.
This guy. Alpha, I feel like you're not going to really build a connection with that big connection with a robot like you would a human. Like, what, you're going to have him tell you a joke? Does he even know jokes?
I don't need a connection. I need a slave to do my bidding.
Huh.
So that's why I chose Alpha.
If I could stand up and walk away, I would. But, we got to do a show, so.
I'm sorry. All right, Herbie the Love Bug.
Do we get the listeners?
Oh, I'm sorry. So, looks like Garrett, I don't know if they thought the same as you, but, or just Joshua because he wanted a companion, but hopefully they weren't scumbags and just picked, Lisa for her companionship and not her mating ability.
Her sax playing's also on point.
Mm-hmm. So 87.5% of people chose Lisa and 12% chose Alpha. So there's that. Herbie the Love Bug or Clifford the Big Red Dog?
Come on, Clifford.
I don't, Clifford, man. You don't need to drive around. You could just hop on that big red dog and just go
wherever
places.
you need to.
Yeah, and then again, I'm thinking practically here, the ability to have a giant dog protecting you and having your back is nothing to sneeze at.
Keeping you warm.
Nothing to bark at.
Big old fur.
Yeah, there's no gas on this island, right?
I mean, I don't know if Herbie needs
Fossil
gas
fuels.
technically. He's a love bug. I mean, he's a sentient being.
Work on love.
He runs on love, I believe.
Huh.
But just like us, the listeners, 100% chose Clifford the Big Red Dog.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was pretty interesting there. Oscar,
Sorry, Herbie.
Yeah, sorry, bud. You ain't coming to the island. Oscar the Grouch or Elmo?
How are you going to be stuck with a Debbie Downer just hating everything you do, say, for the rest of eternity?
Because Johnny's the same way.
So I am not a Debbie Downer. I'm a realist, and I believe Oscar the Grouch is also a realist. He's bucked the trend of society. He lives in a trash can. Like, the man is, he knows how to survive in the wild.
He knows how to survive in a trash can because people throw their trash in his trash can in his home, which he then feeds off of.
Yeah, I mean, he never has to worry about food, so.
I don't know, man. I'm pretty happy having Oscar on the island with me, and he knows how to scavenge. He
does not know how to scavenge. He doesn't leave his trash. Scavenging comes to him.
See, no, we don't know that for sure.
Elmo just loves everything. He just loves being.
He's just too happy. I couldn't deal with that. Elmo, we're out of food. It's okay, Johnny. We're gonna get by. This is the song. No, Elmo, shut up.
Elmo's Island.
I couldn't deal with that.
Yeah, Elmo's cool.
So you two chose Elmo. I chose Oscar the Grouch, and the fans responded pretty strongly with me. 87.5% chose Oscar the Grouch. 12% chose Elmo. Next up, Tasmanian Devil or Bowser Jr.
I mean, he just tears down trees, and we can make a cabin.
Yeah, if you want to be the one to take down all the rainforests and build asphalt roads and.
See, I just feel like he'd be too much of a loose cannon. I don't know if we would get hungry and the next morning I wake up and he's devouring me.
But we know Bowser Jr. is evil.
Well, no, he's mischievous, Garrett. He's just a misunderstood.
Sorry, he hasn't grown up to evil doing yet.
He's young evil.
He's a misunderstood little tyke, and you know what? With time and years on the island together, I will reform him. But Taz, there's no way, there's no coming back from that.
He's just crazy.
You saw how many times he wanted to eat Bugs Bunny. It's not happening.
I mean,
because he's a rabbit,
and I'm a human.
A big rabbit.
I'm a big human. I'm not that big.
I mean, he wasn't trying to eat Yosemite Sam or anything like that. Right?
I don't know if there were very many shows where him and Yosemite existed together.
There were a couple.
That's the first human I thought of.
Ah, okay.
Somewhat
Elmer Fudd as well. And Granny. There's a few.
Granny.
So 75% of listeners chose Taz and 25% chose Bowser, so they sided with you guys.
There you go.
On that one.
No, I think just me.
Just you?
Joshua chose Bowser Jr.
He chose Taz.
Yeah. No, I chose Bowser Jr.
Oh, good job. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right choice.
Well, apparently not good job, because
I forgot. I'm sorry. Lots to remember.
In the minority.
Next up, Captain Jack Sparrow or Captain Cold.
Jack Sparrow.
He's found a way off the island once.
See, there's no...
I know, but I not only that, but also Captain Cold, I feel he will gut me in my sleep.
Wow. See,
He's just gonna shoot an ice beam.
I just picked Captain Jack Sparrow because he always finds his way out of scrapes and scraps, and very few of his friends die around him. So if I'm around him, the chances are things are going to go okay.
Well, I mean, Barbosa died, 3 times?
Well, that really wasn't his friend, though, right? Like, until the end.
Respectable comrade.
They were frenemies, maybe, at the end.
Arch rivals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even in that last movie, right? Like, to save his own life, Barbosa hunted Jack down and pretty much threw him to the wolves. Now, of course, he helped later, but still.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. But I do see parts with Captain Cold. You're on a hot island. Just cold. Make us a little igloo real quick, man. Like it's hot.
Yeah, there's some perks
there. That's the
there.
only benefit.
So, most of them went with us. 80% chose Captain Jack Sparrow. Only 20% chose Captain Cold. Next up, Alfred or Jarvis.
Alfred can do stuff. Jarvis can't do anything.
Jarvis is a snippy, preppy butler, and Alfred was a field medic. He in the nitty gritty.
Part of MI6, man.
Right? Yeah.
The man knows what he's doing. He knows how to survive.
Exactly. So, and then also he's a theater major, so he can, act and play games and stuff.
So Alfred, you do it.
Just cool me down. Just old Egyptian times. Just get a big palm tree leaf, wave it in my face.
He's a butler, not a slave.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. You treat Alfred with respect. You don't use him as a slave. He's no Alpha 5.
Do you want me to cool you down, sir? Yes, please.
Wow.
There you go.
Well, 75% of listeners chose Alfred. 25% chose Jarvis.
Jarvis will just tell you where to find food.
No, Jarvis.
He's a real person.
Okay, outside of the movies.
Yeah, so in the actual comic, he's a butler.
Okay.
Yeah. He's a human being.
We all learn things.
Yep, everyone learned that today. So Courage the Cowardly Dog or Scrappy Doo?
At least I can have a conversation with Scrappy.
Yeah, I don't have the energy to try to figure out what Courage has to
is
say.
trying to warn you about.
Okay.
Because nothing but evil stuff, nothing but just monsters, and aliens, and just creepy things follow Courage
he's
around.
Always scared.
Okay.
That's his name.
I think you're looking. Well, his name is Courage.
The Cowardly Dog.
Yeah, that's his title.
Not scared,
that's
the Cowardly Dog.
Well, he's scared half the time.
I think Courage was the better choice, only because he actually gets things done. Now, yes, he gets scared, but in all those shows, he usually overcomes his fear to save the day.
You know what's better than not having to deal with something to save the day? Not having to deal with anything at all.
Okay, so you can't...
Evil follows courage.
See, now, I don't know if it's necessarily his fault. You can't blame that on him. That's neither here nor there. The fact is, he gets the job done. What does Scrappy do?
Well, there's going to be a lot of that on the island.
There was no other way to say it. If I said Scrappy Doo, what does Scrappy do? Like, it doesn't make as much sense. But really, he doesn't fight. He always puts the fist up, but he's 2 inches tall.
Yeah.
He'd be ineffective in every way.
He'll grow out of it.
I don't know.
There's that, and also, at least when I have to deal with adversity with Scrappy, it's just a dude in a mask.
Again,
not an alien or
you can't
chicken alien.
You can't actually put their show into what happens on the island.
Scary.
But that's what we have to go on.
Alien. There's a lot of aliens.
There are. All right. Well, 62% chose Scrappy from our listener poll. 37% chose Courage the Cowardly Dog. So they sided with you. Happy from the Seven Dwarfs or Gimli from Lord of the Rings?
Gimli can get stuff done.
Yeah.
Happy's cool, and he'll keep you positive, but I mean, Gimli, if something goes down, if there's something on the island, that's who I want to be with.
Now, you're right, and I agree with you from a practical standpoint. But this time, I wasn't going practical. It would be awesome just to be walking through the tropical jungle and all of a sudden just hear him go, "Hi ho, hi ho."
Every morning, just him.
Hi ho, hi ho.
There's supposed to be 6 other people singing with him.
I know, but I could take
actually 5.
I could take that spot.
Dopey's a mute.
Yeah.
It's a solo act.
I could be in there with him. We could just go ahead and duet it.
Okay, I got 2 things. One, you want to hear that every morning.
Well, I could teach him other songs.
I don't think you can.
Well, we don't know. We only saw one day's work. They might have other songs.
And 2, someone who would rather ride and die with Oscar the Grouch chose Happy because he'll be singing every day.
I mean, it would just be good. He's happy. You need some happiness. Not that
much.
Elmo's oversaturated happiness, and Happy seems to be realistically happy. So that's why. However, unfortunately,
conundrum, sir.
Yeah, that's me. I'm an enigma. Unfortunately, the listeners did not agree with me. 25% chose Happy. A whopping 75% chose Gimli.
Because they know what's up. We're gonna get stuff done.
All right, and next we've got the Cat in the Hat or the Grinch.
I mean,
Grinch is too much. He's going to steal everything I have.
Okay.
who knows if his heart has grown 3 sizes?
Oh, if it's 3 sizes
Large.
too small.
Too small or too big that day. You don't know what you're going to get.
All right, so I picked the Grinch because he has the ability to have his heart grow. The Cat in the Hat's just a troll, man. I don't want a troll living with me. He just trolls everybody. That's all he does. That's all he's good for.
I mean, but at the end of the day, no one gets hurt and the problem is solved.
No. The problem's not solved. Everything goes back to the way it began. You wanted to build this house. He knocks everything down, destroys all your wood, and then when you're frustrated at the end of the day, he puts the wood back where it was. You don't get anything done.
No, not at all. The Cat in the Hat, all right, kids, rainy, boring day, they want to have fun. Cat in the Hat shows up, has fun, maybe a little too much fun, things get out of hand. But then right before the mom comes back, it's all cleaned up, everything's fine. You had a good day.
I don't know. That fish seemed pretty upset.
He was very upset.
So I'm kind of with the fish there. However, in the listener poll, the Cat in the Hat took 87.5%, and 12% chose the Grinch.
You are almost always the odd one out.
Yeah, I'm getting ripped up here.
It's okay.
Last one, P. Diddy or Ben Stiller?
I got nothing.
Can't make a band on an island with 2 people.
So, I mean, we could get
Not
some
really.
raps going. But you know what, Ben Stiller, just because I feel like I could have a normal conversation with him more so than P. Diddy. Like,
Yeah.
P. Diddy's always wearing those glasses, and I don't know. I just couldn't have a conversation with the man.
I'm not going to have a conversation with either one.
Well, you're stuck forever with Ben Stiller now.
Yep.
So,
Ben Stiller.
We'll just continue not talking to each
cooler.
other.
yeah, for 20 years.
He'll try to talk to you, and Garrett will just ignore him.
All right, guys. Oh, and so the listener poll, 87% chose Ben Stiller, 12% chose P. Dids. So you're not coming, buddy. All right, guys. Well, that is fan favorites for this week. If you have some thoughts or ideas for fan favorites, or want to let us know how you did, or want to take part in next week's listener poll, you can do that by checking out the show notes. We'll have a link for this week, this listener poll, as well as the upcoming listener poll for you to take. Just quick 10 questions to go ahead and review. That way we can have your answer as part of the percentages as part of the poll for next week. And you can also let us know what you thought of our choices by email, contact@scspodcast.net, or on Twitter @SuperCoopSquad. And again, all those links are available in the show notes. So the challenge of games has changed quite a bit. So as time has gone on, the difficulty of games has ebbed and it's flowed. Early 90s saw games have brutal learning curves and near impossible levels, thinking water levels in almost every game, that needed mastering in order to complete them. 2000 saw the rise of soft platformers like Super Mario 64, Spyro, Crash Bandicoot, and easygoing save points and checkpoints. And only recently games have kind of begun to move back into extreme difficulties. Of course, there's always been outliers, Ninja Gaiden and such, but more so it's been bigger with games like Dark Souls, Super Meat Boy, and just a plethora of games getting back into that challenge.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing, I think. But, what do you guys think? Has the difficulty of games changed for the better or worse?
You guys know me. I do not like a challenge. I want my games to be very easy.
Spoon-fed to you.
I want to feel overpowered.
Garrett likes to make sure that, the crust is removed from his bread. He wants nothing hard.
Yes, please. And cut in triangle pieces, please.
Wow. I believe that this is a sad thing. It used to be an achievement. I mean, not necessarily an achievement that you would receive and you wouldn't get no bleep bloop, but it would be an accolade for you to beat a game. And you felt good about it. When there was no save points, you couldn't stop halfway through. You had to beat the game. And there was something to be loved for that. And now you got save points and you got easy, hard, normal modes and random things, and continues are not a thing of the past. Are a thing of the past. You just keep dying and keep starting over. And I do miss that bygone era where the challenge of a game meant you either beat it because you had skill or you didn't.
I would argue not necessarily skill. A lot of times you would need skill, but in those older times, there's cheat codes, there's warp pipes, there's all kinds of ways to just get through the game without actually getting through the game.
So Johnny, you are saying that you liked it when they were harder, or it's sad that they're easy or that they're not as hard?
I mean, I see that there's a place for everything, but I miss having games like that where there were no save points. I remember fondly and with some frustration at times, trying to beat Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 on the Nintendo Entertainment System, and then get into Shredder and having to fight him, and then he turns me into a baby turtle on my last life. And
tonight he dines on turtle soup.
Right, and so yeah, that, and shoot lightning at me and stuff. That was really hard game to beat, but I really liked the fact that I could do it. And now there'd be a save point before I play him, so I can just keep doing it over and over. So it means nothing now to go through the entire game, and I miss that feeling at times.
Yeah, just make it where you don't save the game.
I mean, yeah, you can add your own restrictions, but is that the same thing?
No, not really. I do like a challenge. I do, as you all know, as many people know, I do love those hardcore games. What I do think is good for the industry is that there is the easy, medium, hard, God mode for those that can't rise to the challenge, those that aren't that good at games, the very casual player, or the parents that are trying to show their kids a good time, but can't have their kids beat them at everything. So just a quick story. I don't know if I've told you guys. So my dad used to play the original Nintendo with me, and I don't remember this. He remembers this vividly. We're playing Dr. Mario, and we're playing versus each other, and he's kind of doing okay, and I'm just whooping on him. I'm just killing him. In that game, if you hit a certain chain, the pills fall on the other side even more. He swears that I would beat him so bad that I would look at him while we're both playing and then taunt him while I'm beating him, and he said that he was done and he would never play with me after that. I don't know if we continue to play, but he said I was so good that he was upset. I was like 7.
I mean, knowing the kind of troll player you are in Smash Brothers,
I'm not a troll player. The character I play seems trolly.
You are absolutely a troll in game. Outside the game, you're actually a very kind person, but in game, you're a troll. I'm sorry.
You can't play puzzle games against me. People get so mad. I have another story, but I'll say that for another time on Tetris.
All right. Okay, so I recognize the fact that you talked about people playing at their own pace and being able to, like your dad had a different skill level than you did. And I recognize that for everyone to enjoy a game, much like you, Garrett, some people may not enjoy a game being played uber hard with, frustrating difficulty. It may not be fun for you. And then others may not be able, maybe this also includes you, Garrett, may not be able to actually beat said game, whether it's hard or not, at a harder difficulty. Yeah, I'm just teasing you there. So I recognize that to have multiple difficulties in game allows for a larger audience to experience and enjoy that game. But then I feel cheated when I'm speaking to someone about a game, and I'm like, yeah, I played Dead Space or BioShock or some game, and I did this, and this, and it took me like 13 hours to get through the game. And like, I beat it in 4 hours. And I'm like, what difficulty? Easy. Okay then, dude. Like, of course you beat it in 4 hours. Don't make it seem like. And so my point is that the experience that people get, and then being able to discuss it and talk about it and understand the mutual game that you played and what went into that, it's different now. It's not going to be the same experience that you can talk about it. If someone says, you know what, I beat the original Ninja Gaiden on Nintendo, you know what that meant. You know immediately. Yeah, Josh was raising his hand. He did it. And right, but it's a hard game, and you know that anyone else that did that, you know what they went through. But if there was easy mode where you could triple jump, then it wouldn't mean anything.
After trying for 6 hours, I used a save state. So I beat it, but I didn't truly beat it.
That's okay.
But I got to the end, and I was streaming at the time, and gosh, this guy watched me do it for 4 hours, and I couldn't beat it. So I was like, save state enabled. So I cheated. Yeah, so what?
So I mean, does that change anything as far as what you think about it, guys? As far as like the experience that you're getting compared to someone else?
Well, going back to that BioShock incident, that's not the game's fault. That's that guy kind of being a douchebag, kind of trying to show you up that, well, I did it in 4 hours. I'm a better gamer than you. But I would also argue that a lot of times, well, maybe not a lot, but for certain games, it's not so much about how difficult it was or how long it took you to beat. It's about the journey, what you did, what happened, the characters that you interacted with, the choices you made. Did you harvest the little sisters? Did you save them? It changes. And I think that difficulty isn't so much of a talking point when talking generally about games. Of course, there's those hard games. There's Dark Souls. There's Neo. We all know those games are difficult. So when you talk about those games to someone else who has played those games, you're at a mutual understanding of what you guys had to go through and what you did.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It's about the experience that you have in the game in a lot of cases. But you take a game like Ninja Gaiden later down the road, like Ninja Gaiden 2, for example, on the Xbox 360. That game is already like super hard just on normal. But then if you happen to beat it on the higher difficulties, I think then that particular game has a talking point, because you're like, how much harder is that game? Hey, you happen to beat it? Cool. Even if you didn't beat it, that's an experience that you could talk about. Like, that game was like too damn hard. So I think it varies by the game that you have. But then you take like the original Super Mario Brothers. That is still a challenging game if you go back to it years later. So I think even though it's a different difficulty in certain aspects, I think you could still have the same experience. Just if you brag about it, you're just a dick. Like in that example you were talking about earlier.
So not often, Garrett, not that I'm closed-minded, but I'm strongly opinionated, and I think you guys both know this.
You got to take this as best you can, Garrett.
You made a good point, and I feel like I've changed my mind on the subject a little bit. You said, a couple minutes ago, I guess 45 seconds ago, not a minute, that, games have changed and there's gameplay now and your story that you're playing, and that's part of your experience. That's a very good point, because back in the day, in the 90s, even the early 2000s, games couldn't have a storyline. I mean, yeah, you have an opening thing like some big boss like, or something like that, and you see this overarching enemy kind of thing, or a small, quick, like, couple of sentences when Ryu Hayabusa fights some other ninja in the beginning of the game, or whatever it is. April O'Neil gets stolen. That was all the story. So you
kidnap?
Yeah, kidnap.
She gets stolen.
Like a piece of furniture.
Grab and run.
But yeah, that's all you had for story. So the game had to be difficult because there was nothing else to propel the player.
Latch on to.
Yeah, that's all you had. But now games have an experience where it's a story. It's the choices you make, like you said in BioShock. Did you harvest little sisters or didn't you? What choices did you make? And that is now the talking point between gamers and fans, more so than just, did I complete X game because the game was so dang difficult? So that's actually a very good point. And I changed my mind a little bit on the subject there. Yeah, you did it. That's what we have for challenge on games and the difficulty and how that's progressed. Let us know, guys, how you feel about it. Reach out to us on our email, contact@scspodcast.net. You can reach out to us in the comments section on our website, scspodcast.com, or on Twitter @SuperCoopSquad, or honestly on any of our social media. You can find all the links for that in the show notes. Click on the links. It'll take you right to that, and you'll be able to reach out to us. We'll read it on air when we have an opportunity, guys. So thank you for that. All right, so our second gaming segment, Gamer Trivia. So every week, two of our hosts go head-to-head in a best-of-5 trivia contest. The winner stays and plays again for the next week. The loser makes next week's trivia. So play along, and let's see just how much gamer knowledge you guys have in the Gamer Trivia. All right, so I had a narrow escape from Doom last week. Took out Garrett. It's a rare thing for me to do. And that means I've got Joshua as my challenger. How you feeling? Good.
You never know what I'm going to pull out.
Yeah, we never do know. So what do you got for us today, Garrett?
All right. So we talked a lot about the Super NES Classic last week. A lot of great games we mentioned. But there's a series in particular that I'd like to expand on.
Super Game Boy trivia.
Gentlemen, this is...
Wait, let me guess. Star Fox trivia.
You already got it because he said but
nope.
yes.
No, well, that was his hype moment. So
was it also the shirt?
No, it wasn't.
You do that a lot. I'm gonna start queuing on that. Looking
that for Lady
up.
and the Tramp, and he did that for one of the other ones.
Yeah, no, I'm wearing a Fox and Falco shirt. I love the shirt. Really cool.
You go through your drawers. You're like, what trivia am I going to do today? What shirt am I going to pick?
I base my trivia based on what I'm going to wear this day. No. So we have Star Fox, specifically Star Fox 64 trivia.
Fair enough.
So
here we go,
gentlemen.
Good luck.
Question number 1. In what game did Team Star Wolf debut? A. Star Fox. B. Star Fox 64. C. Star Fox Adventure. Or D. Star Fox Assault. Gentlemen, I have your answers. Joshua, you had answered B. Star Fox 64. Johnny, you also answered B. Star Fox 64. The correct answer is B, Star Fox 64.
Yeah.
So, gentlemen, that is correct for you, Joshua. Correct for you, Johnny.
I'm going to do a barrel roll every time I get an answer right.
So the score is 1-1. Now it gets a little more tricky. Hopefully. Question number 2. What is the name of the base ship of Fox & Company? A. Gray Fox. B. Star Fox. C. Great Fox. Or D. Star McCloud. All right, gentlemen, I have your answers. Johnny, you've answered C. Great Fox.
Oh.
Joshua, don't awe, because you also answered C. Great
I
Fox.
was saying because he answered the same.
The correct answer is C. Great Fox. So that is correct for both of you, gentlemen. The score is 2-2. Question number 3. Which of these vehicles is not able to be piloted? A. R-Wing. B. Landmaster. C. Blue Marine. Or D. Great Fox. Which of these vehicles is not able to be piloted? I have Johnny's answer. I have Joshua's answer. Joshua, you answered C. Blue Marine. Johnny, you answered D. Great Fox. The correct answer is D.
Thought that was
Great
a trick
Fox.
question.
The Blue Marine's actually a submarine that is only in one of the levels that you can play as.
It's a hidden stage.
Yes. So, Joshua, that is incorrect. Johnny, that is correct.
So who flies that ship?
Who flies what
Who
ship?
flies the Great Fox?
Well, maybe we'll find out. So that was incorrect, Joshua. Correct, Johnny. The current score is 3-2
Should have went with my gut.
for Johnny. Question number 4. What is the name of the robotic helper aboard the Great Fox? A. Rob. B. Bot. C. Rob 64. Or D. Bot 64. I have Johnny's answer, and I have Joshua's answer. Johnny, you answered C. Rob 64. Joshua, you answered B. Bot. The correct answer is C. Rob 64. So that is correct, Johnny. Incorrect, Joshua. That is 4-2. Johnny's favorite.
I don't want to do trivia next week.
There's still time. Question number 5. On Venom, after defeating Andross, the base is about to explode. Someone comes to you to find your way out. Who was it? A. Peppy Hare. B. Falco Lambardi. C. Starwolf. D. James McCloud. Or E. General Pepper.
General Pepper. That's fun.
What about Slippy?
Slippy doesn't do much of anything. All right.
Help me! Fox, get this guy off me!
All right, I have your answers, gentlemen. Johnny, you answered D. James McCloud. Joshua, you answered B. Falco Lombardi. The correct answer is D. James McCloud.
It would help if I played Star Fox 64.
A little bit. A little bit. Okay, so that is correct, Johnny. Incorrect, Joshua. Score is 5-2. Oh, we're looking at a perfect score, huh? All right. Well, we'll see what happens with this here. Let's hear your bonus question. But first, I need your points.
Be a man.
Go
all in.
I don't know the game that well. Oh gosh.
Says the guy with the perfect score right now. It looks like he's really about to bet it all.
does he have the gall
To bet it all.
Ah.
Still on that cat in the hat thing.
All right, I have Joshua's bet. I have Johnny's bet. Gentlemen, the bonus question. Out of all the names said today, one of them used to be on Team Star Fox with James McCloud. Who was it?
I think I spelled his name right.
All right, I have both your questions, or both your answers. Johnny, you've answered Peppy Hair. Joshua, you've answered Peppy. The correct answer is Peppy Hair. So both of you got that correct. Now for the points. Joshua, you had 2 points. You bet 2 points. That brings you up to 4. Johnny, you bet 1 point. Got 1 point. Brings you up to 6.
Dang it.
So Johnny is the winner of Star Fox 64 trivia.
He's trolling me. Why is he trolling me?
I'm trolling you?
Why are you saying dang it for winning?
Because Garrett's the only person that's got 5 points, went all in, and got 10. And I could have done the same.
Perfect score.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what you were trying to do?
I was too afraid.
Well, had you got that wrong, we would have been tied.
No.
Had you got that wrong, 1 point from 5 is 4.
Yeah.
Right, but if I'd have went all in,
Oh, yeah, but you're not going to do that to risk losing.
Garrett did it.
It's easy when you have 5 points and you have a guaranteed almost win.
I had 5 points and a guaranteed almost win.
No, you didn't.
I could have bet nothing, just nothing you could have done.
Exactly.
So, gentlemen, that is Star Fox 64 trivia.
All right.
Joshua?
I feel like Slippy going off into the distance.
Help me, Fox!
All right, guys. Well, that is trivia for this week. I'll be seeing you in trivia next week. Garrett, Joshua, you'll be on trivia duty. Duty.
And duty.
Hopefully you guys did well in gamer trivia. Let us know some themes or thoughts for next week's trivia that you'd like us to do. Email us at contact@scspodcast.net or Twitter. You can reach us at Super Co-op Squad. Let us know, guys. Links for those will be in the show notes for you. So by the time this is published, Spider-Man Homecoming will have released the previous weekend. And although we will be having a review for that, because we're recording this before we're all able to watch the movie, it'll be next week's episode or a bonus one next week. But what we'll be discussing is the MCU and where Marvel goes from here. So they're in the midst of their phase 3 of their Marvel Cinematic Universe. Those films that are still left in that phase 3 include Thor Ragnarok coming out this year, Black Panther for 2018, Avengers Infinity War 2018, Ant-Man and the Wasp 2018, Captain Marvel 2019, the next Avengers film, which is Untitled, in 2019 as well. The sequel to Spider-Man Homecoming, also in 2019. And, of course, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is still to be announced. So quite a slew of movies coming up. What stands out to me the most is that many of these upcoming films are starring new heroes, new actors, and the bread and butter, that original Avengers group. For many of these movies and beyond, nothing's known as far as what they're going to be in. So this begs a question for me. What happened to the mega characters, those uber popular characters, Iron Man, Captain America, Hawkeye, that we come to love and know over the last decade of films, when their actors that portray them either move on or are written off? Where does Marvel go from this at this point?
I see one of two things happening. They can substitute that character with a new face. Maybe we don't have Iron Man. We now have Captain Marvel or something. Someone kind of fill that void, that gap. Or they can go the other way, and they can. A lot of times, a lot of these heroes are a new person's taking up that mantle. So we could see maybe I forget her name, but there's the new Iron Man. That's the woman.
You're talking about Riri Williams.
Riri Williams. We could see her maybe.
I think it could be both. I mean, if you look at Bucky in some comic lore is, the new Captain America. So something like that could happen. or in many times in comics, even the TV shows, there are different members of the Avengers team. So maybe somebody else gets added on, someone else falls off, something like that. As far as these movies, I don't think we're going to see these actors or actresses stick their roles forever. I mean, it's not going to happen. I'm curious to see, will people still watch these movies if you don't have Robert Downey Jr. or Chris Evans or someone big like that?
Yeah, and that's where I'm sitting as well, because I agree with you, Garrett, that they only have a couple options. You either get new actors, younger actors, because as much as I love Samuel L. Jackson and Robert Downey Jr. and the roles that they've created and made their own.
Fantastic.
Yeah, they're not young. They're not going to be young forever. At some point, Sam's going to look too old to play Shield director kicking butt. Yeah, and Robert Downey Jr. is going to start getting gray hair and not be able,
eventually that junior is going to become a senior.
Exactly.
Robert Downey Sr.
Robert Downey Sr. And many of these guys and gals, they have expiring contracts. They were brought on for 3, 4, 6 movie deals. Now, some of them have a large portion of the movies left, much like Stan Sebastian, who plays Bucky. He was on a 9-film deal. He's only been in 3 movies. He's got 6 films to go.
I definitely see him taking up the Captain America.
It's very possible. Or even Anthony Mackie as Falcon, which he does that in the comic.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the projection to like plan this out in the beginning? Like, hey, we're going to do 6 movies for you or 9 movies for you. And most of these movies probably aren't even scripted yet.
Yeah, I mean, as far as when it says they have a 9-movie deal, that means it's an option. If the studio decides not to make the movie, I think there's some sort of payout the actors get, but they're not guaranteed to be in 9 films. It does happen quite a bit where they just don't get the films made. For instance, some of the actors from The Incredible Hulk, they are on 3 or 4 movie deals with Marvel. There's no Incredible Hulk sequels announced or talked about.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. Mark Ruffalo does have quite a few movies that are on his contract.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what they're going to do from this point. I don't know what's going to work and work well. If you get rid of these guys, like you said, to your point, Joshua, that people love, Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans, will the fans still be as excited for what they're watching?
I think so, because if you look at what's his name, Chadwick Boseman plays Black Panther. That's a likable character. Like, I really like that character. So if you continue to have likable, enjoyable characters that work with that role, I think they'll do well. Like Paul Rudd, like you were like, that, how is he going to be Ant-Man? Then you watch the movie, you're like, that was a great fit for that role that they envisioned. And if they keep doing that, I think it'll work.
It's tough to say. They must, whatever plan they're going to have, they already have it in place, because they've got movies lined up for the next 7 years or so. They got a ton of things that are unannounced. They've already talked about it. So they know what they're going to do, but we just don't know what that plan is going to be. The thing I think what's most likely going to happen is they're going to retire those heroes. Let's say, like you said, they're going to have Chadwick Boseman, hop into the Avengers, and maybe Bucky, take his turn as Captain America, or what have you. The Avengers lineup will change, and then as, let's say, 4 or 5 movies go by, then they will recycle Captain America or Iron Man back in with a new person playing the role.
Mm-hmm. Because
then enough time has gone by where it's technically rebooting because you have a new actor, but you're still within that same universe and the story is still progressing, is what I imagine. Because they're too invested in the MCU now. They have too many things going to reboot any one particular character with a whole new outside thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, what do you guys want as far as like heroes to take over and fill those mantles? I mean, not necessarily new names adding, being Iron Man, Riri Williams being Iron Man, or Dr. Doom is Iron Man right now in the comics. More so like what characters do you want to see? Yeah, it's really thing, right? It's funny, huh? It is very funny. Dr. Doom is Iron Man. He is the infamous Iron Man, I believe. But what characters do you want to see them bring into the fold? We've seen them have Black Panther, Captain Marvel's getting her own movie, Ant-Man, Doctor Strange. Who else joins the Avengers?
See, I don't really read Marvel.
Okay, fair enough.
Much.
Batman.
Yeah, Batman and the Avengers.
That would be awesome. Crossover. I would really like to see them bring in a couple different things. First would be the new Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan. So Miss Marvel, it's pretty much Captain Marvel. She changed her name to Captain Marvel. I guess it is a better name.
She got promoted.
Pretty much, right? And a younger girl who has a whole different set of powers, who loved Captain Marvel, took her old name and she's in one of the biggest characters in the comics right now. I'd love to see her. And we joked about it last week as far as Miles Morales not being in the MCU because he's, they've already got Peter Parker and stuff. But honestly, it would be sick if they brought Miles Morales in as, a Spider-Man. I would love that.
They could. They got alternate dimensions and things like that already in the works.
Just bring him in part of this dimension.
I would like to see Scarlet Spider-Man.
Ben Reilly?
Yep.
That'd be pretty cool.
Clone Saga.
Yeah, that'd be a whole different thing. Clone Saga's got its own both loved and reviled place for fans, but
so I hear.
Ben Reilly himself is a great character. I think there's a lot of things that they could do. Let's look at the flip side though. What's the character that they absolutely can't lose? That they have right now that or you feel like they need this person to ground and keep the MCU what it is currently.
We're talking about actors in the role?
Actors in the role and their character.
I think it has to be Robert Downey Jr.
I would agree.
I think he's pretty much the face of this Avengers franchise.
Of the MCU, I would say he pretty much was at the start of it.
Yeah, I think I'd have to. It's unanimous there. I think RDJ is the one that you've got to spend the big bucks for and make him stay. And to be honest, he's the one that can probably do it the longest.
Oh yeah.
There's going to come a point where it's going to be very difficult for all of Captain America, Chris Evans shots or Scarlett Johansson to continue to make them look like themselves, and then also do some of the stunt work. They don't do all of it, but even small bits because they're going to get older. I mean, they're not old, but they will get older. But RDJ, most of his action scenes are in a CGI, computer-generated suit of armor. A lot of his film is just his face.
Yeah, and just how he is as a person, and he's a hilarious dick half the time, and just he's snarky and he has a lot of sarcasm, and he's just kind of nonchalant half the time, and it's just fun and funny to watch. And you can't lose him. I think he's making the most out of everybody too, right? Like money wise,
money, yeah, he's making a killing. They all are at this point. So I don't know what they're gonna do, but really quickly, we won't break down the entire list because there's quite a few names, but they've got most of their actors on huge deals. Now we're gonna break down just very quickly some of the actors that still have quite a few films left on their contract. So Chris Hemsworth, I believe, has still 2 more movies that he's slated for that are unannounced. Mark Ruffalo has quite a few. He had a 6-film deal. He's only been in, I believe, 2 movies.
Just in case, I don't want to say it that way. Chris Hemsworth being Thor and
Mark Ruffalo
being the Hulk.
Incredible. That's a good point. Thank you. Jeremy Renner has, who plays Hawkeye, has quite a few films on his as well. He's confirmed, of course, for Avengers Infinity War. Sadly, not the next one. He's not on that roster just yet.
I can do without this character.
Wow. Well, that's sad. I'm sad to tell you that there's a strong chance that he's going to have a standalone Hawkeye film. Apparently, that's been rumored to be in his contract.
I can do without that.
So that's a strong possibility will happen. Paul Rudd, who's only been in Ant-Man and then the small bit of time he was in the Civil War, he still has, as he states, a 3++ movie deal. So he's got several movies lined up as well. Chadwick Boseman has a 5-movie deal. He's only been in the 1 movie, then the upcoming Black Panther. So at least 3 more films we'll probably see him in. And as I said before, Sebastian Stan has a 9-film contract. He plays Bucky / Winter Soldier. He's only been in 3 movies, so we're probably going to see a lot more of him. So these new guys, these side guys, we're probably going to see a bit more of them. But RDJ, Scarlett Johansson, and Chris Evans, we're probably not going to see too much of them going forward.
The Trinity.
Well, that's what we had to talk about with the Marvel Cinematic Universe guys. Let us know what you think. Who should come back? Who shouldn't? What route should they go? Should they reboot or not? Is it time? Reach out to us by email, contact@scspodcast.net, or on Twitter @SuperCoopSquad, or any of our social media. You can find links for those in the show notes. No need to click in a bunch of URLs. Just click the show notes, click the link, and go ahead and follow that and let us know your thoughts and feelings. So, Speedrun. Every week, we'll break down 10 news stories and fun facts that just didn't quite make the list for a full segment. We've got 1 minute per topic before we move on to the next one, finished or not. Gotta go fast.
Summer Games done quick.
In the Speedrun.
2017.
The upcoming Phase 4 Marvel Cinematic Universe film, Captain Marvel, is reported to see Samuel L. Jackson reprise his role as Nick Fury.
Wouldn't Captain Marvel kind of be in space
A large portion of her stuff is actually on Earth. She does have some stuff in space, but not much.
I figured she was just a space person.
Nope, mostly on Earth. At least in the last 10 years or so.
Oh, okay.
I really like Nick Fury in the MCU, so I'm highly looking forward to see Samuel L. Jackson continue his role.
Yeah, same thing. He doesn't have too many movies left on his contract. I mean, that could get changed, but I think that's why he wasn't in some of the previous films that we've just seen. The last one was Age of Ultron. But yeah, that's awesome. I like that they're bringing him back, and hopefully he plays a bigger role going forward.
Yeah, I mean, he's still kind of recovering, right?
Right, at the end of that film.
Because he almost died.
He was all messed up, you're right.
But then apparently he didn't, because he had to keep secrets from everybody.
Yeah, he does keep a ton of secrets.
Even from, I always want to call her Robin, even from Maria Hill.
Yeah.
For Robin Sparkles.
Right. It's for the greater good. Greater good.
That's funny, you know, her as Robin Sparkles, yet you don't watch Him Yum.
I do not watch How I Met Your Mother.
Him Yum.
Next. Overwatch continues adding content and characters as the highly anticipated Doomfist is now playable in PTR and soon to be made playable to the general public. So this is great. Unfortunately, I'm not part of the PTR, so I have not had the chance to play Doomfist.
Well, you can only be part of the PTR if you play on PC, right?
If you play on PC, I think you have to pay for it. It's like a, and for lack of words, membership kind of thing. So as soon as he is released to the console, I'll be able to have a more defined observation of the character. Unfortunately, he is not voiced by Terry Crews.
That is pretty sad.
As a big letdown, Terry Crews showed so much interest in playing this character. I kind of understand why they chose not to pick him because of where he's from, where Doomfist is from. He's from Numbani, parts of Africa, and Terry Crews, does not have that kind of.
He does not have
accent or
African accent.
Yeah, so it wouldn't match for story related reasons. But next.
The second DLC for Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild will still see Link as the main protagonist, but have a heavy focus on Zelda and learning more about her backstory. This
is something that I'd like to see more of. So it's supposed to be about Zelda, but they've so far shown nothing but the champions. I was starting to think he played as the champions, or in some sort of way, but I don't know. So we're still playing as Link, but we're gonna find more out about Zelda.
I mean, the champions are. Well, I can't
say much.
You haven't finished the game, so I can't say anything.
We can maybe at least talk about Rivali, because that's as far as I've gotten.
He's a champion.
No,
so I'm curious to see what kind of story
this
is.
He's like Falco's brother.
Pretty much. It looks like it's going to be a prequel to the game, because all the champions and stuff you learn about through Breath of the Wild, it's past tense. Yeah, it's all memories and kind of looking back on it. So it's going to come out at the end of the year. I hope it's a decent pack.
Good.
It'd be disappointing if it was like an hour and a half.
Next.
The popular DS puzzle game series Professor Layton returns in Layton's Mystery Journey and is set to debut on iOS and Android devices later this month. Will the series find success moving away from its Nintendo roots?
And I stopped caring halfway through that.
Dang, like that?
Just like that.
Like that, dope?
Just like that.
Wow.
I was excited. I like the Professor Layton series, but I'm not going to play it on my phone.
I think this is a good thing. I mean, I know you don't like mobile games, as you say, but for one, okay, if mobile games never move forward past Angry Birds and Plants vs. Zombies, they'll never end up being what you want them to be, actual full fleshed out games.
No, what I want them to be is non-existent.
You're a little closed-minded there, but that's okay. I think this is a good thing. I think the game's going to be fun, and a good puzzle game is fun no matter where you play it.
Yep,
I
agree.
That's true.
It's a good thing that you're not making these games, Garrett, because you wouldn't make any money, because you wouldn't be making them at all.
Right, you'd be Konami right now.
That's correct. I would not be Konami, because I wouldn't be making Palinko Professor Layton.
Well, you'd be out of a job, because now you can't make games anymore.
Yeah. I'll make games for the DS. The Switch. Why isn't there a Professor Layton on the Switch? That sounds fun. All the stuff you could do with the Switch.
It doesn't mean there won't be.
Yeah, there should still be.
Next. Spider-Man Homecoming 2 should be expected to have a never-seen-on-the-screen villain, according to the Marvel Studio president, Kevin Feige, who gets pulled from the Spidey Rogues Gallery.
Faisha.
I think they might... Faisha? Bye, Faisha. I think they've already said, I think it's rumors anyway. I think it's supposed to be Shocker. Wait, no, Shocker's been
in it.
Who's the other one? No, Electro's been in. That was Electra. Shocker has not been in the movies.
I don't want to give any spoilers for Spider-Man to you, so I won't.
Oh, Shocker is Electra?
No. Shocker is in some small way in Spider-Man Homecoming.
Oh, yeah. Maybe that's what I heard then.
And it's Feige.
Feige?
Mm-hmm.
Peggy?
I don't know. I don't know who I would think they would put in there. It'll be interesting.
Well, so they did already say that there's going to be the Venom movie, a standalone Venom, possibly with Carnage in it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's been confirmed, but
they've had Rhino in there, right?
Rhino?
Yes,
yeah, barely at the very end of Amazing Spider-Man 2.
And they had Sandman and...
the first one?
Yeah. They've had the third one.
Next!
Pokemon Go celebrates its 1-year anniversary with a wild Pikachu wearing Ash Ketchum's hat and a discounted anniversary box that will hold a bunch or a plethora of items.
I think this is cool. I like that they're continuing to add DLC and updates and content. Too little, too late. We said it before, we'll say it again. For me, this is done. But there's still a lot of people that play.
Half of my coworkers have gotten back into this game.
I don't know. Like, it's less of a game and more of like just an app to do something. Have you seen those RPGs on Garrett's? Like, I don't care. He's just looking deadpan. Those are RPGs on Steam where all you do, you like kind of like use coins in game to buy your party. They go into a dungeon and they just auto fight, and then they auto fight and you just watch them fight and they gain experience and loot and gold. Then they eventually die because they're auto fighting. Then you go back to the tavern and you buy more guys and you add them to your party. They're stronger. You click the button, they go into the tavern and they do it again. That's what this game is like.
Fun.
Right? There's nothing like to draw me like I'm actually a Pokemon master or a trainer, and that's how I feel. Telling you how I really feel.
Where are the legendaries?
Next.
Thank God.
Hulu continues its battle in live TV and streaming as it acquires both Cinemax and HBO as add-ons at $15 and $10 respectively to its service.
Skinemax.
That's pretty cool. Expensive, but I think it's pretty cool. Another way to get these hit shows, just further increasing the availability to watch Game of Thrones, to watch Westworld.
Yep.
I forgot the Black something. I don't know.
Black Swan?
No,
That's the movie.
Black
but
Panther?
it might be. No, it's a series.
Yeah.
But I think this is cool. I don't know what Cinemax really has to offer other than, just maybe kind of newly release-ish movies.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have like their Cinemax like originals.
Do they have series?
I believe they do. I don't have cable anymore, so I don't know.
No, that's not even cable. You need like satellite.
Right. No, you're right. But the thing I see here is that, man, TV's dead.
Yeah.
It's dead. Not dead as far as like shows coming out, but the way that we get TV.
Yes.
It's gone, man. Who would have ever thought HBO would allow another streaming service to just have their content?
So does this mean you're paying $15 and $10 more, or
Yes.
the service more than what Hulu actually is?
Yeah. So next. Horizon Zero Dawn gets a free update and now includes New Game Plus and Ultra Hard Mode.
Cool. This would be great when I actually get to play the game.
Play that game. Much like you wanted me to play Zelda, I want you to play Horizon.
Yeah, my brother has it right now.
Okay. Well, he's enjoying a very great game.
I hope so.
New Game Plus, I think, is always a cool thing. After you beat the game, especially in games where you with like skill trees and you level up, you can't always max out your character just in the first playthrough.
Mm-hmm.
So having New Game Plus, maybe throwing in enemies where there weren't enemies, much like the Master Mode in Zelda, you get to level up more and you get to max out your Aloy.
Yeah, I like this. I like New Game Plus. I like Ultra Hard Mode. I like that they're adding content if they have to add content. So yeah, this is a good thing, and I'm glad that people are enjoying the game and getting more stuff for free.
Yeah, that's right. This is free.
Can't beat that.
Should be free. Shouldn't have to pay for a hard mode, even if it's Zelda.
Can't beat that with a baseball bat.
Is that all we have to say about Horizon? Next.
Yep. Diablo 3 releases its latest update, Rise of the Necromancer, to much critical acclaim from its fanbase. How much more can Blizzard do with a game that is more than 5 years old?
Well, I can tell you they're not going to outdo Bethesda's Skyrim.
As far as content?
As far as just it being in the news.
Why is that?
Just because Skyrim's on a new system every year.
Or Grand Theft Auto 5, they're continuing to even be in the top 10 every month in NPD and analytics.
Yeah, but they actually are still adding content. It's not another port. They're adding content to GTA.
That's fair.
But Blizzard bringing Necromancers finally out. I think that's really cool. I think it's really fun. I think we should all hop in, play this game, and I play the Necromancer.
No, we all play the Necromancer, or no one does.
That's dumb.
I've never played Diablo 3, so maybe I play somebody that's not as top tier.
Oh, good. Then you can play whatever, and we'll play Necromancers.
No, I'll play Necromancer. I think it'd be really cool. If
I play Necromancer.
Next.
Wizards of the Coast released its latest expansion, Hour of Devastation, while the digital TCG Fable Fortune releases later this month, and Hearthstone's newest expansion drops in August. Can the king of trading card games maintain his dominance with so many other competitors nipping at its heels?
Probably.
Sadly, I truly don't think so. I don't think it'll stagnate, but Hearthstone has taken off in such a way that so many are emulating it with, Fable Fortunes coming out from the makers of, from the Fable franchise, and you've got games from, Witcher 3 has Gwent,
yeah.
and all these other digital trading card games are pushing forward. Plants vs. Zombies has one. I think Angry Birds has
Hand
one.
of Fate. Angry Birds has one?
I believe so, or they're making one. It's just getting crazy. And the fact that Wizards of the Coast is so far behind in making a mobile game, the game to mobile devices, it doesn't look good. It's hurting them badly, I feel.
There's that. Yeah.
I mean, I think there will always be, like, I recently just went to the Hour of Devastation pre-release, and there was, 30 or 40 people at that local gaming store. But there will always be people who want to play on paper, but you're not going to expand your group, your community by just being there.
Yeah, you tapped out.
I see what you did there.
All right, guys. Well, that is our speed run for this week. Let us know your thoughts on speedrun and anything that you might have agreed or disagreed with. You can do that by reaching out to us on our email, contact@scspodcast.net, or on Twitter @SuperCoopSquad. And you can find those links on our show notes. So, name the game. This is the segment where two hosts go head to head as they try to guess one game with clues given from the other host. Can you name the game? All right. So I won Garrett won last week. Joshua, you lost, unfortunately.
Yep.
And I'm the new challenger. So what do you got for us, sir?
I got 3 games that you have to name.
All right.
That's it.
Here we go.
All right. Game number 1. The object of the game is to get the highest score possible.
Tetris.
Nope. All right. You make your way around the table to collect items and rewards.
Monopoly.
Nope.
Poker.
Nope. Watch out, because the bottom is the end of you. Okay. Flip your way up
Pinball.
and be alert from bumpers. It's not just pinball.
Pinball Wizard.
Nope. Gotta catch them all.
Pokemon Pinball. I knew as soon as you said bumpers, but I couldn't answer again because it's one.
Yep, it was a pinball game, but which one was it? Johnny, that is 1 for you. Garrett, that is 0. Game number 2. Gather your friends. It's more fun when you play together.
Super Smash Brothers.
Nope.
Just Dance.
Nope. Eliminate all foes. There will be no mercy.
Mario Kart.
Nope.
No, pass.
Make your way across the board collecting items and power-ups along the
Mario
way.
Party.
Mario Party.
I was out of it.
Those are good guesses, though.
I was out of it.
2 for Johnny. That's 0 for you, Garrett.
That's it.
Yep, but we're still doing the third game.
Okay.
Keep it going. All right. Congratulations. You won, even though you didn't enter. You go looking for your brother because he is nowhere to be found.
Luigi's Mansion.
Luigi's Mansion.
Dang it, I had it right after you said it.
I had some other good clues, but Luigi's Mansion. So that's 1 point. You're on the board,
Yay.
Garrett. But Johnny scoped you out. You had 2. You are the winner, sir.
There you go.
Thank you. All right, guys. Well, that is our Name the Game segment. Hopefully, you were able to name that game along with us. And hopefully, if you didn't, you do better next week. All right, guys. Listener mail. All right, so electronic mail number 1. Garrett, go ahead and take this.
All right, this is from Jason. They need to make Mario Bros. Pops. I would wait in the cold, cold snow or the blazing heat and walk uphill both ways to get the entire collection of Yoshi-colored pop figures. Please, please let this happen.
I feel like you would do the same thing. Maybe not wait in the cold.
For the Yoshis, yeah.
Yeah. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Good one. They've never made any, so
Actually, yeah, there's no Nintendo ones out
there's
there.
nothing for Nintendo. No,
Give it time.
I mean, there's Amiibos.
Yeah, that might
those
be.
aren't pops.
They're
I know,
not pops, but that might be why Nintendo's not letting them.
Because they have their own line of like collectible
Toys.
figures
Yeah.
and whatnot. But yeah, if they had a line, there's so much they can work with.
And Joshua, you got email number 2?
All right, this email is from Joshua. Such a cool name. I'm sick of pop figures. Once they started making pops from NBA players and other athletes, I was done. But if there was one that they could get me with, no, there isn't one. I'm sick of them. Sorry, guys. I tried.
No, you didn't, Joshua.
Yeah, you really didn't try,
You didn't try
dude.
at all.
And
I did.
we're calling you Josh, bro, for not even putting anything in there. So Josh, yeah, not happy.
Damn.
Yep. You be quiet over there. We'll call you Josh too.
I will come across this table so fast. There is so many pops. Like I wonder if there's anyone that has them all.
Oh, absolutely not. Unless
I don't know, from the start, from the beginning, and if you have the means for it, I
You
would
have
say
to have the
absolutely.
money for
I don't.
sure.
I don't think there's anybody in the world who has all of them. There's too many. It's just too.
Except the
dang
guy that
difficult.
made them.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Yeah, the guy that made them, someone like big in the company, but any non-employee, no way. There's hundreds of thousands of these by now. I'm sure.
Like too many exclusives. and-
Right, variants, and they made 10 of this guy. No.
I don't know. I'd
Some of
argue
them-
there's someone out there crazy and rich enough.
So, some of them they've only made one of.
Really?
Yes, there are some that there's only one. Prototypes. They have prototypes that they sell. You can
Like from the game prototype?
nah, bro.
Alex Mercer.
No, like prototype pop. So there's only that one in existence. So there you go.
Well, I mean, those ones don't count.
Those count. They sell them. They literally sell them. If the company sells them, then why not?
Okay.
So I mean, that's how I feel. But yeah, there's too many. But if we had to choose one that we would pick, what would you choose?
So I wrestled a couple times. There's always my standard answers. There's, Sly Coopers, Okami, Amaterasu. I would love Funkos of them. But one I want in particular, I want a Spyro. I want a Spyro Funko Pop.
That's pretty cool.
Little dragon guy.
I would love some cool Golden Sun pops.
That'd be pretty cool as well.
Yeah,
Kinda-
probably that Garrett one's probably the best.
No, he's not.
He's got a red
He's
hair.
kind of
So
a
he's
coward.
okay.
So,
He's not the big blonde buff dude.
no,
No,
he's
he's
a
the
coward.
redhead. Yeah, he kind of is a coward.
Uh-huh.
He grows up though.
A little bit. I would honestly love the Hanna-Barbera line of pops, like Yogi Bear. And...
They have those.
They have Yogi
They
Bear.
literally have those. They have those like Huckleberry Hound,
Do they
Hong
have-
Kong Fooey,
Oh.
Yogi, Boo
Yeah,
Boo.
yeah,
Do they have,
a few
do
of
they
them
have
out there.
Tom and Jerry?
I don't think so.
No,
I've
I
never
don't
seen
think-
one.
I don't think yet.
Aw.
Give it time.
What about me, Yogi?
No, I don't
Do
want.
I get a pop?
I don't want Boo Boo. I want Tom and Jerry.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, they got those, man.
All right. Cool. All right, guys. Well, thanks for the emails, Josh and Jason. We appreciate you guys emailing us, and anyone else reach out to us at contact@sespodcast.net and let us know your thoughts, including next week's listener question. So next week's listener question is, if you could pick any 2 video game characters to have a baby together,
You ship them?
yeah, you ship them. As Garrett
my
would
mailing
say.
address.
Which 2 game characters would you choose to have a baby together? That's it. So let us know your thoughts on which characters should have a relationship, as Garrett would say, and of course, a baby.
Does
Yeah.
it have to be the baby, or can I just ship
No.
them?
They have to have a baby together. They have to have a
Garrett
baby.
and Lisa Simpson.
Yeah, there we go. That's a good combo. All right, guys, passing the controller. What's going on with us outside the world of the podcast?
How's your Ouya?
I like the Ouya a lot. It's awesome. Very
Booyah!
Yeah, it's very cool. There's no games for it because no one supports it, but it's fine.
Not anymore.
So with me this week, I've had a good week. I'm starting a new job, so I'm happy about that. On Monday, by the time you're listening to this, I would have already started. Hopefully, I didn't get fired.
You're gonna be late, Johnny. We gotta go.
Yeah. So yeah, that's good for me. The other thing is, I went to the Magic the Gathering pre-release for Hour of Devastation, their latest expansion. So I'm actually surviving off about 2 hours of sleep because it starts at midnight, went to about 4 in the morning. We're recording this guy, then I'm going to work immediately after this. So there's that.
It's gonna be a long day.
Thug life.
But yeah, I had a lot of fun at the pre-release. I won 2 out of my 3 games. I got a few extra packs. I won a raffle or 2. It was a good experience. I whooped up on some guys. The first guy, Jason. Surprisingly, your name is Jason, and the guy that emailed us is Jason. It's just some kind of coincidence.
Jason.
But it's not the same guy. Anyway, you got lucky, dude. You got so lucky. Next time I'll work you. So yeah, be ready. Oh, and I found a new shop. I've moved farther away from where we normally used to game at, and so this place was awesome. I found it. Sadly, I've been driving past it like for 10 months going to work. Didn't know it was there until today. And it is my favorite shop already. It's awesome.
Was that the one you went to last night?
It's called Shuffle and Cut. Don't mind giving them a shout out. It is an awesome store. Clean, awesome. Tons of board games, tons of product. A huge, nice area to game. It's got air conditioning. Beautiful. So Shuffle and Cut. Tim, you ran an awesome pre-release. So thank you for that.
Cool.
I like the name.
Yeah, it's a good name. Garrett, as I said, whenever Joshua does me right or wrong, you get it.
You're your own person.
When he does me right, you get it too. And you did me right, Joshua.
I didn't do it.
You gave me a clean controller. So Garrett, I'm gonna give you the Xbox 360 in perfect condition, mint condition, that R2D2 controller.
Okay.
It's all nice and clean. It's nice little collector's item. That's you, buddy. Enjoy.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So as I said, haven't been able to play Zelda much. Been playing Injustice. Try to make this quick. Looking forward to Spider-Man. Should be checking that out pretty soon. Birthday's coming up, so that's gonna be pretty cool. It's coming up, guys. So give me stuff.
I'll give you the joy of the podcast.
There we go. Speaking of podcasts, I've checked out a new podcast that I really like. I've always, since I was a kid, loved like folklore and myths and
PS3 game.
Specifically Greek mythology and all that. There's a podcast called Myths and Legends, and they span from all sorts of different cultures and all sorts of creatures. Each episode has a story, and then there is a creature of the week that's unrelated to the story, just to kind of let you know about, wow, they really believe that, or, oh, they made this creature to try and teach kids this lesson kind of thing. And it's just crazy how different the world was and how different cultures are. But, so I've really been enjoying that. And that's pretty much just been me. Justice podcasts, all that fun stuff.
Nice. I'm glad you picked up a new podcast. That's cool.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. Joshua.
Yep.
I don't think you've played it yet at all. So here you go. I'm going to give you DJ Hero Turntables.
I have played DJ Hero. About 1 and 2.
Nice.
That game was super easy for me.
First one was fun. Second one was
Yeah, weren't as many good tracks.
Cool. All right, there you
DJ
go.
Turntables.
Sorry, it's the deluxe edition with the
nice.
gold, that golden black turntable.
Scratchy. Cool. Spider-Man. Looking forward to it. I've been still been playing Nex Machina. I'm a completionist, so there's a lot of little, not necessarily achievements, but missions and stuff. I finally beat the secret boss. It took forever to figure it out, and now I feel accomplished because the game is hard, and I did the Heroes Pass, so that's my next goal. Is the
I
hardest
beat the secret boss in like 2 days. So.
You haven't even played the game. What are you talking about? Johnny, you hosted a 4th of July party here. That was a blast. Thank you for that.
Yes, lots of fun.
I passed out a little early because I was running off of a little sleep for the last couple of days.
You missed out on Injustice.
Yeah, I missed out on a couple of things apparently, but
I missed out on Werewolves. I'm not happy about that.
Yeah.
It's okay, but
yeah, you did. You missed some good games.
It was a good time. So thank you for hosting that.
You're welcome.
I'm going to pick up a show. I'll probably watch Castlevania this week and maybe pick up something else because Castlevania is now on Netflix.
I watched the first episode and a half. It was interesting. There's only 4 episodes.
Only 4?
Yeah.
Are they half hour or are they an hour?
They're by at least maybe my Netflix was making some sort of error. I was watching on my phone, but it was 25 minutes an episode. There were only 4. And I'm fairly certain there was only 4 because the synopsis for episode 4 said in the finale.
Huh. Well, season 2 was already confirmed.
Well,
with
I
like
guess
8 episodes.
Yeah, there you go.
So this is like a feature-length movie almost, like an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm. But that first episode was well done, and I'm interested in to watch it.
Okay. So I will not be here next week. when you guys do the show, because I'll be at Evo Evolution 2017. So
yay! We got rid of him. I mean,
Damn.
yay! Have fun at Evo.
Okay, bye. So the tournament's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'll be leaving Thursday with my brother and a couple friends, but I'm off on Tuesday, so I'll get some practice in. I'm competing in 3 games.
Do you know before your matches if you're going to be on stream?
No. So most of the time, you'll only be on stream if you are in either you're a top level competitor and you're fighting against someone else that's a high level, or if you're like the top end of your pools.
Okay.
Like if you're in winners final pools, you'll probably be on stream if there's enough stream time to go around. A lot of times you'll get about half. So I'm hoping to get out of pools in 1 of 3 games because I'm playing Street Fighter, Ultimate Marvel, and Smash Brothers, which I think Smash Brothers I will do the best at. So wish me luck. I'll try to see if I can record some of the games so you guys can watch at home, or you guys can kind of keep me in the loop. So
that's awesome. I'm excited to see how you progressed. Honestly, I think you should win at least a few matches.
I hope so.
That would be cool.
Yep. So you can't replace me, but I'm curious to see who will replace me because I won't be welcome back, I guess.
Nope.
Oh,
we got rid of him, guys. We did it. I've seen all the emails to get rid of Joshua. We've listened.
I'll leave the door unlocked.
Just kidding. No, Joshua, it's just 1 week. You're part of this, dude.
This is how you get a good controller to turn into a bad controller. So now
I'm just kidding.
Now you're gonna get maybe a half-ass controller. So you're gonna get, you know what? I know you like to move, you like to sing and dance. You're gonna get a DDR dance pad.
Okay. That's fair.
It's the GameStop one.
I deserve that. I was kind of harsh on you.
Yeah, for the PS2.
All right, it's sticky.
No, he didn't say that. All right, guys. Well, that is our show for this week. We appreciate you listening to us. We know you got a lot of choices, and hopefully you had fun. We know, as always, we did. So thank you for tuning in with us. Before we get out of here, guys, we want to just go ahead and say Hooked on Comics. My comics podcast is starting back up, so we'll be releasing our next episode. The hiatus that we had been on is now ended. Life stuff happened, so we had to do life, #life. But now that life has relaxed a little bit, we're ready to start our show again. So if you like comics and want to hear about what's coming out every week, tune in to Hooked on Comics with myself and Lila Balduff, and we'll be talking about our favorite issues in the week. Other than that, guys, you can find and reach out to me on Twitter, social media, at JohnnyMac24.
You can reach me at Twitter, GJL3275.
And you can find me at Joshua_4_life.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for listening. And as always, I'm Johnny Mac.
I'm Garrett.
I'm Joshua.